Hi, I'm Susan, and this is what I'm making today. I'm going to take this chipboard and I'm going to cut two 8x8 pieces and one 3x8 piece. This is one like Kay made on Crafting Cousins Creates, their paper channel. But I want mine to be more masculine because I want to give it to my husband. I highly recommend Kay and Trish's papercraft channel. I have really gotten into paper crafting here lately, and I'll have it linked in my description box down below. A chipboard's thicker than your typical paper, so you have to cut it from both sides to get it to cut. Now that I've got it cut, I'm taking this tan paper that I have, and I'm going to tape it together. This is going to be the cover of my album. I'm using double-sided score tape. This is what Kay and Trish recommends. And you just make a seam because it has to be long enough to cover everything. And I put the seam right in the center of my 3-inch piece, and then I'll lay down my other pieces. And I lay them down about 1 inch from the top, and then I'll cut about 1 inch border all the way around. I also use the art glitter glue that Kay and Trish recommend. And here I'm going to lay down my first piece, and then you want just a little bit of space in between your other two pieces to give your album room to fold over. After I cut my inch border, I go to the corners and I just cut that triangle out, but you still want to leave just a tiny bit of paper at your corner so that you can kind of fold it over. Now, I score around my paper to make it easier to bend, and I put tape on that as well. And here I'm kind of just pinching in those corners so that they'll be covered up. I pull off the strip of tape, and then I add in some more art glitter glue, and then I just fold over the sides. I started with the small sides, and then I got the large sides. And here's my cover. Today's challenge is Funtime Friday. We get to make whatever we want to make. And this is hosted by Tiffany of Broke Girl Aesthetic and this month's co-host, Zana of O at Home DIY. Both of these ladies are very talented, and I've participated in many challenges with them. I highly recommend you check out their channel, as well as the playlist. I will have them listed in my description box down below. Now I need to make a hinge so that I'll have something to hold my pages. So I'm going to cut this paper at 11.5 by 7.5. Now I need to score it at 1 inch, 1.5 inch, 2 1/4 inch, 3 inch, 3 3/4 inch, 4.5 inch, 5 1/4 inch, 6 inch, 6 3/4 inch, 7.5, 8 1/4 inch, 9 3/4 inch, and 10.5. And I only have a small scoreboard, so I had to figure out something to make it work. So I took my tape measure and I slid my paper over. I put it at the last one I had scored, which was the 6 inch, and then I just go back down and continue scoring, and that worked out pretty good for me. Now you want to skip the first 2 lines that you scored, and you want to pinch up that next line, and then you'll lay it back down over like that. Then you'll skip the next line, and then you'll pinch up that one, and you'll continue doing that all the way down your paper, and then you'll have 4 hinges. And don't forget to burnish. When you add tape on, be sure to rub that tape in. And when you do your folds, you want to make sure you fold it in. If you have a bone folder, you can use that. I'm just using my Cricut tool. Now I flip the hinge over. Now you want to add tape on each little crevice where they'll meet, as you can see, because when you pinch it together you want it to stay in the end. So just go all the way down through your paper and add your tape to one side. Now you'll remove your tape and you'll pinch them back together like you did before. And there's your hinge. It'll hold 4 signatures. Now you want to add tape to both sides of those hinges and just leave it. You won't do anything, you won't pull that tape up right now. Now on the bottom you want to put tape on those little 3 sections in the middle. And we'll add art glitter glue on the sides. Now the spaces in between the hinges are your gussets, and that gives you room to put your pictures or any kind of memorabilia you want to add to your album. Now we want to make our signatures. That's your pages. And I need 4 pieces of my paper cut at 7.5 by 7 3/4, and I need 4 cut at 7.5 by 8 3/4. Now on the sheets that are 8 3/4, you want to score 1/2 inch on both sides, and you'll fold them. You'll fold them up just like this on both ends, and you'll do that for all 4 that you've scored. You'll add your tape, and then you'll end up adding that other shorter piece of sheet on top of that tape, and that'll give you your signature. Now these are your 4 signatures, and they'll fit. They'll slide right on that hinge. But we want to do our work on the pages before we add them to our album. Now for my first page, I'm going to make a gateway fold. I cut my paper at 5.5 by 8.5, and I'm scoring it on the 1/2 inch on the 8.5 inch side. And you'll fold that up on both sides. Now you want to check to make sure it fits. And once it fits, you just want to cut it in the center. Now, using your tape again, you want to attach it onto your page. Now I'm making companion pages. I'm cutting out 2 sheets of paper at 5.5 and 7.5. And I'm going to score it 1/2 inch on the long side. One page is going to flip up and the other side is going to flip down. And I'm going to come back later on and add some that'll open up. One to the left and one to the right. Now it's going to be page 4 and page 5. And page 4 is just going to be blank because page 5 I'm going to make a waterfall fold and it's going to take up room. And I need to cut 4 pieces of paper at 5.5 by 4 1/4. And I'm starting to use up some of my scraps that I have left over from before. Now I want to score at 1/2 inch on the 5.5 inch side. And I'm going to fold it down and I'm going to put tape on those folds. Now I want to come in just a little bit. I think it's going to be 7 3/4 and square to go on that the 2 pages. Because before you can do your waterfall fold, you'll have to put down your background paper. And while I'm going ahead and putting down the background paper, I'm going to go ahead and do it for page 4 as well. Okay, now I'm going to add my waterfall fold, and you just want to line it up at the top. I centered it as best as I could. Now I want to take my second sheet and I want to line it up just beneath the first one and do this all the way down. Now I want to make a little flap that I'm going to use to hold in my pictures. I'm going to use a magnet with it. And I'm cutting it at 5 by 2 1/4 inch. And you want to score it at 1/2 inch and at 3/4 of an inch. And then you'll fold it and you have a little gusset there at the bottom where it gives your pictures room. And I'm just going to tape that little piece on there at the bottom. Now pages 6 and 7 are also going to be companion pages, and I'm going to do a large flap on each side, and it's going to be 7.5 by 5.5, and one's going to open to the left and one's going to open to the right. And I'm just going to score it again at 1/2 inch. Now for page 8, we're cutting 4 pieces at 4 1/4 inch by 6.5 inch. And we're going to score it at the 1/2 inch mark. And this is kind of like the waterfall fold, but it's going to go on top of each other rather than descending. And it's going to be attached to the side. I'll also cut a flap for this one at 2 1/4 by 4 3/4, and I'll score it 4 inch and 4 1/4 inch, making that gusset like I did when I made the waterfall fold. Now the basic part of our pages are put together, and now we're going to start kind of decorating it. And I cut out this piece of scrapbook paper, and I'm going to put a pocket here. So that's the background part, and now I'm going to cut the pocket, and then I'll put scrapbook paper on top of that pocket to decorate. Now this chevron looking paper, the way it pointed, I wanted that part in the center. So I just put it where I wanted it, and then I just put little marks where I cut it so that I could then lay it out and it would look neat. Now I didn't show adding the side flaps on pages 2 and 3 because it's just like it was when I did it before, just smaller. But here I'm making a Z-fold, and I cut out 3 pieces at 6.5 by 5.5, and you'll score it at the 1/2 inch. And you'll tape it on each fold. You only score once. And you just attach it down to where when it pulls out, you've got like an accordion. Now I'm going to add my magnets. I think these are 8mm magnets. And you put the spot where you want it. You don't want it at the very edge, but you'll tape it down. Then you'll put another one on top of that and have the sticky side up. Fold it over so that the tape will stick to the paper. And then you'll drop it so that you can find the next piece and add your paper, close it, and it'll attach to that back. That's pretty cool, I thought. And now I'm going to add the background paper and cover up that magnet. So now I'm just going to go through and add in magnets where I need them, and papers, different papers. I try to get my papers to all coordinate. Now this right here is the outside cover, and I cut 7 3/4 square, and I just attached it, and I attached my back, the little spine part. Now, when you really get fancy, you can add ribbon and all of that, but since this is supposed to be masculine, I just kept it simple. And now I'm just going to add my coordinating papers. I add a sticker so that it would hit with a magnet and close. You just really get to have a lot of fun with it. Now, I'm not going to totally decorate my album today. There just isn't enough time. This is basically putting it together, and I will show you that. And I may have another video where I finish decorating it. You can add stickers, you can add ephemera, jewels, whatever you want to add. And I do have some ideas that can still be masculine. And so I'm just going through my book right now and adding in all those pages where they need to be added. And I didn't cover every little pocket because some of them are going to have pictures and stuff on them. And so I'm not sure what's going to be what yet. But I just go through and just the ones I know that need to be decorated, I go ahead and decorate. Now I'm going to add my signatures to the hinges. And you just want to pull up that tape a little bit, slide that edge down. Then you don't want to go all the way to the bottom of the book because you want to give it room to fold. And you just pull out that tape and you'll have your book. And here's a final look so far. I've got my pocket, my gateway fold. I've got my coordinating flaps here. So those were the side flaps I added. Got my waterfall. Got my other side flaps. Got my other little area there. And my Z-fold. And I'm really happy with this. I hope you like it. If you do like it, please give me a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't. Ring that bell so you can be notified when I upload new videos. Leave a comment. Do you think you would make something like this? I really have a lot of fun and I can't wait to continue decorating it. Thank you, Tiffany and Zana, for hosting this challenge. And thank you, Kay and Trish, for the inspiration. And until next time, bye y'all.